Another update for Brian and the men on the committee. I had intended to keep Ballad of William T. Anderson, I think the only track on this album without any added instrumental parts. But something kind of came to me in a dream. I woke up about 2 a.m. and got to it with this National Resolectric here. The song, I think, has only two chords, A sus and D sus. And this is in a D modal tuning, so there's my D, there's A. There's a D. So anyways, mostly strumming accents with some slide work that comes in the latter half of the song. And I found another use of, this is also for those who might be interested in the plug-in side of it. I found another use for Airwindows WoodenBox, which is, like, I think nothing surprising given the type of plug-in that it is. But it is a particular application. Normally, okay, so I mix primarily in mono, and that's partly to do with a hearing impediment I have in my left ear, and partly to do with a preference that I have for mixes that have more of a live as opposed to a quote-unquote studio sound. But anyway, I do use stereo wideners. Well, one specifically, Voxengo Stereo Touch, which I just find to be the one that seldom brings anything untoward to the table. It does its job. It does it extremely well. And it looks like, where is it? Voxengo. The guy's a straight up genius. Let me see. I'll just load an instance to show you what it looks like. There's Stereo Touch. I tried Stereo Touch on this part, but it just wasn't working. And it just wasn't happening. So I was just going to leave the track in the straight up the center. But then something happened along the way. I was manually volume drawing Brian's vocal to accommodate this new part. There were just certain words where it needs to come up a little bit, as you can see right here. But then, as I was going through this stretch, I just had an intuition. I put WoodenBox in there. Let me see, is this it? Nope. There. And dialed in a setting. And what I found is that Stereo Touch was just, no matter what I did, it was just overkill. WoodenBox provided just a little bit of it just spread it out just a little bit, so that there's a certain pokiness in the national part that just kind of gets in the way of Brian's words a little bit here and there. And at least for this little stretch that I'm about to play, I don't have to do any volume drawing on Brian's vocal because of the way that WoodenBox just slightly smeared those microtransients out of the way, just enough off to the side where chef's kiss, man. Here's what I'll do. I'll play this little section with WoodenBox bypassed, and then I'll play it again unbypassed, and you can hear what I'm talking about.
I was moved to Richmond, Missouri, to the old Pioneer Cemetery, and here's where I rest in peace, knowing I still haunt your dreams. I was moved to Richmond, Missouri, to the old Pioneer Cemetery, and here's where I rest in peace, knowing I still haunt your dreams. I took out Judge Baker.
It might be a little tiny bit too much out of the way. I may need to play around with the depth setting a little bit here. But it provides some very nice subtlety and fine control for this sort of thing. WoodenBox. So there's another use I found for WoodenBox. The other thing I'd like to highlight here real quick is my use of Chow, what is it called? Chow Tape Model. This is not something that I use in the mix bus. It's too much of an effect as a tape modeler. It has a lot of tweakability. It's got a lot of parameters. I mean, I could use it on the mix bus. I happen to like Tone Booster's Real Bus V3. It's very well behaved, does exactly what I want. I can depend on it. But sometimes at the track level, Chow Tape Model, it's got a lot of presets. And while I know there's an argument for not using presets, they're good starting points. I like a tool with a lot of presets, especially if it has a lot of knobs and a lot of parameters like this one does. And I haven't tweaked this yet, straight up preset, but the preset is called Tape Wide. Right there, Tape Wide. And it gives this national part a texture, that, look, sometimes a part needs a certain kind of texture, okay? And there's all different ways of going about it. And sometimes it can be a bit of a time sink. You'd like to be subtle about it. You don't want anything that sounds cheesy or stupid. But it's nice when you find something that just works right off the bat. It sounds good. And that's what this is. So if I bypass it.
I was moved to Richmond, Missouri, to the old Pioneer Cemetery, and here's where I rest in peace, knowing I still haunt your dreams. I took out Judge Baker.
It may be a little bit too strong, but it is just a preset. But I really love what it's doing here. it's it's like a fast tremolo, but not a perfectly smooth tremolo. It's got a little bit of a choppiness about it that I really think fits the bill for this part in this song. So anyway, I don't have time to do a full pass of this song with the new part. I'll just send it along to you, Brian, and you can forward it to the gentleman. But now, yeah, William T. Anderson now has a national part on it that I'm quite happy with, and I hope you will be too. So that's it from lovely scenic Paju City, South Korea. Airwindows WoodenBox and Chow Tape Model for whatever the hell it's worth. May the winds of clarity blow ever in your favor. Sometimes those winds are nice when they're a little bit choppy. Over and out.